Hey everybody, just wanted to make a video because recently I've seen a lot of hate that's been going around and hate directed at me for being a black conservative, black Republican, a black person that supports Donald Trump. And I want to record this video to kind of talk to the reason why liberals hate black conservatives, black Republicans. So here's the deal. In this country, there are two very big differing political paths, right? I know people are going to say, well, what about people in the middle? But I'm talking about for the vast majority of people that identify, you're either a liberal or you're a conservative. And in this country, liberals do something that conservatives don't do. Liberals put people into groups, and they believe that that group is the most important aspect of defining your political activism. That if you're part of this group and you have these certain beliefs, that this is how you convince other groups to allow your political will to come to fruition. And here's what I mean by that. If you're someone that believes in the Black Lives Matter movement, chances are, if you are not a liberal, the reason that you believe in it is because you've been kind of hooked into this idea that if you care about black people, that you have to support this movement. So if you're not a black person and you identify with that movement, it's probably because the liberals did exactly what they have been doing for a long time, which is they convince you emotionally, they hook into your heart and they say, if you who haven't come from this experience really care about your fellow person, then you have to support these beliefs. You have to support this legislation, these laws that come in. You have to support these movements. And the reason why liberals hate black Republicans, black conservatives, black people that are pro-Trump is because we turn that narrative on its head. Because we say, hey, we're not this main identity, right? We're not these white Christian conservatives, European, that we're different. We're part of one of these groups that you claim are being oppressed by America, but yet we have a differing opinion, a differing belief. And so that leads to a lot of hatred. And the hatred usually comes in a handful of forms. Online social media, you get discredited. This happens to me quite a bit, and it happens to a lot of other conservatives I see on social media, is they tell you, one, that you probably don't like your own race. And that to me is really, really comical. I identify as a black man, and just to make sure that we understand, my name is Abdul Rahman Magba Kamara. I have an Arab name because my father, who passed away 7 years ago, was a practicing Muslim. My mother's Christian, and I was raised in a household where my mom and dad said, let the kids decide what they're going to be. So I actually, I chose Christianity, and that's what I am to this day. But I challenge that narrative. So do a lot of other black Republicans, is because we have an experience in which liberals say, in order to be able to have a position to talk, you have to shut up if you don't come from this experience, from this background, because we're going to let our brothers and sisters talk about their oppressive relationship with America. And so this is why liberals get insane with me. And so that's the first thing, is they tell me that I don't identify as black, which obviously I'm telling you I identify as black. I identify as a lot of things. But two, they'll tell you that you must be an elitist of some way, shape, or form. And maybe some people that are black conservatives are elite, but the vast majority of people that I know that I've seen on social media are not elitists. They come from very humble backgrounds. Myself personally, I've never held an elected position for a statewide office or a local municipality. I've been involved in Republican politics since I was in college because I learned about what conservatism and what Republicans were, and I fell in love. I was like, man, like these ideals, these principles, they really speak to my soul of holding each other accountable and having the right of the individual, that I should be able to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. This is something that I fell into, not because I was raised to be a conservative or a Republican. Many of you have heard my backstory, but my mom and dad were not conservatives. They were not Republicans. They never talked really about politics. The only thing my dad ever told me is that he believed that Karl Marx had it right. My dad suffered from substance abuse issues. My mom and dad, they got divorced from each other and then they remarried each other. But I was raised in low-income subsidized housing. And again, my story is that the things that I've experienced are what liberals say should make you a liberal. And those experiences are what's supposed to allow you to have a conversation. So when I raise my hand and I say, hey, I've had these experiences and I vehemently disagree with the beliefs that you're pushing forward. I vehemently disagree that this is a racist country. I disagree that we should have a large social safety net. I disagree on all of these principles, but yet here I am as a non-white, non-European majority, right? Like I'm none of these little check marks, but yet here I am with this differing opinion. So that's why liberals hate me. The third thing that they'll bring up is that I just must be uneducated. That's one of my favorite ones. A lot of the people that I see talking, it doesn't matter if you go to college or not, but you can get knowledge. I have a lot of knowledge. I actually have been, I went to college and I got a degree in political science. So I actually understand political philosophy, political ideology. But again, I'm told that I just don't know. I just don't have the knowledge. I don't know my history. People recommend that I read these books. But here's the reality. Being a black person in America, whether you're a male or female, it's up to you to choose what your life is going to be. And that drives liberals insane because they can't point to me and say that I'm a victim. That's why liberals get so mad. White liberals get super mad when you try and call them out and say, hey, the reason that I have a differing opinion is because my experience has shaped me to have a different belief. I don't need to be saved. Most black Americans, even if you push aside their politics, they don't want to be saved. Now, there is something to continuing generation after generation to tell people, young black males especially, that your future is going to be defined by all these things that happened in the past, not even to you, but to your ancestors. That does something to people's psyche. But again, the vast majority of black Americans, when you talk to them, they know that they can be successful. The problem is that they get put in these boxes and they're told that because of X, Y, and Z, you'll never be able to be successful. They're looked upon with pity. And so when I look back at that liberal and I say, don't have pity for me. I'm a man of individual responsibility. What my life is because I made choices. Has the color of my skin defined what choices are available to me? Absolutely not. And that drives liberals insane because they can no longer pull on that heartstring of saying, well, since you grew up rich or you have a lot of money now or X, Y, and Z reasons that you can't have a place to talk about if we're talking about increasing welfare, if we're talking about increasing the safety net that exists currently, if we talk about increasing minimum wage. There's all these things that I can speak directly because I have an actual experience with, and same with so many other black Republicans and black conservatives, that we get to dispel that notion that the liberal is putting forward. And instead we say, listen, this Republican Party, that's where you need to be if you really care about freedom. That's where you need to be if you want your life to be able to fulfill all of the options, the opportunities, all the God-given abilities that you have, that you were born with, all of the rights that you have, that you were born with. The Republican Party is the party that you need to follow. That if you want to vote for someone that's actually going to continue to make the lives of Americans better, don't look for the Democrats. Don't look for the liberals. Look to the conservatives. Look to the Republicans. Let the individual be empowered. And that makes liberals mad. Also, it makes black liberals even madder. And here's the thing. With my background, the majority of these woke black liberals, one, they came from backgrounds where they did not grow up in poverty like me. They come from backgrounds where even today, my mother is actually in a nursing home. She's been in a nursing home for 6 years because she had no assets. I don't make enough money that I can support her outside of her nursing home because she has a lot of medical needs. And because of that, most black woke liberals have more money than me now. Their parents had more money than me, and they went to better colleges than me. Now, yeah, I went to college, but I'm almost $100,000 in debt, and I own a home, but I don't have a lavish home. I worked my butt off. Everything that I have, this American dream that I am pursuing, that I am living, I am thankful, I am blessed, I'm glad of everything I have. But the liberal tells me that I shouldn't be able to have this experience or be able to talk on these things because that's not what it's supposed to be, right? So I challenge that narrative and it makes them so upset. So here's the deal. If you are a conservative, if you aren't black, you still have it right. Don't let liberals trick you. Don't let them make you think that because some black guy gets up there, some black woman gets up there and says, hey, look at my life. It's been the struggle. Here's why we need to do X, Y, and Z. You already know that the way that our society is set up is that we in America empower the individual. It's those that want to radically change that notion, that they're trying to get you to change your opinion. But don't be fooled. Continue to be the person that you are. The vast, vast majority of people that I've met, regardless if you're a liberal or a Democrat, you know what the truth is. That this life, you have many options and you choose those options and you have to live with the consequences. That's the reality. Now, life ain't fair. No one ever said that life is going to be fair. But you want to know what a good government does? What America has done. They say, no matter where you're born, no matter if you're born with money, don't have money, you are born and you didn't come from this country and you immigrated here and you became a naturalized citizen, no matter where you come from, you control your future. That life's not going to be fair. You might start from a different position, but if you put your heart into everything and you make good choices and you try and live a just life, you will find success. And that's what conservatism is about. That's what the Republican Party is about. And we challenge that narrative, all of us black conservatives and black Republicans, so we get that hate. That's what happens. And here's the last thing that I just want to say. Even if you're watching this video and you're a liberal and you say, man, that guy really pisses me off, I want you to understand that myself and the majority of other conservatives I've talked to, I have no ill will or hate towards you. You might have hatred towards me, but I have no ill will or hatred towards you. I can vehemently disagree with the way that government should be ran, and we can have really heated conversations and debates, but I want you to know this. I love you. As my fellow human, I want you to be successful. I want you to be able to fulfill all of the gifts that God has given us. I want you to be able to fulfill that promise, whatever that promise is for you. But just know that if I disagree with you politically, I don't hate you. I don't want you to fail as an individual. I hope the politicians that you support and their terrible liberal, communist, Marxist, social justice systems and policies all fail, because I think that they'll make America worse. But as an individual, I love you and I want you to succeed. And we can have differing opinions. We can have very heated arguments and debates about the future of this country. And you can go ahead and vote for a loser like Joe Biden, and I'll still love you and I'll still want you to be successful. You're still my neighbor. We're still Americans, and we get to make sure that this experience, this American experiment, continues to succeed as it has been. So that's just what I wanted to say. Even though you liberals absolutely despise black conservatives like me, black pro-Trump Republicans like me, we don't hate you back. We're going to continue to live our lives. We're going to fight for the truth that we know it to be. We're going to challenge your narratives at every single turn, but we'll never let it beat us down. We will always persevere as we have. And hopefully, if you're listening to this message and you haven't considered these things, you look into what the Republican Party stands for. Look at the core basis, the philosophies of what it means to be a Republican, to be a conservative, and see that this is the party that will continue to advocate for freedom, to allow you to be able to experience all of the great fruits that your life has available to you, all of the great things, all of the natural abilities that God gave you when you were born, and that there is no ceiling. The ceiling is where you set it. Well, thanks for listening. God bless America. Hope you have a great day.